I mean, it's kind of more for the writer than for me. I try to do it as truthfully as possible to what had happened. My time spent with the podcast and some of the interview material, as well as some of the public records. I tried to really dial it in as much as possible to that. That being said, I can't change my face. I look like me, unfortunately or fortunately.
On to this exciting interview segment here at Survive the Shows. I'm Desiree, and today we have the pleasure of sitting down with Ross Crain, star of the Lifetime movie Kidnapped by a Killer, the Heather Robinson story. Join us as we delve into Ross' insights into his character and the challenges of filming this movie. Thank you for being here with us, Ross.
Well, thank you for having me. I really appreciate it, Desiree.
It's a pleasure. So, talking about Kidnapped by a Killer, the Heather Robinson story, what was it about Heather Robinson's true story that first drew you to get involved with this project?
Sure. Well, I mean, obviously the overall story is just incredible. And I mean that in the true sense of the word. It's unbelievable how something like this could happen. So I think that's interesting, right? Is trying to unearth what that might be like to go through it. But what really drove me to want to be a part of this is the relationship that my character has with his daughter Heather, and I just thought that was so powerful, and the way they were connected was so interesting that I often get to play bad guys. That's usually who I play. So to get to play someone who is such a good dad and so fighting for his daughter is just it was absolutely something that drew me to it.
Yeah, amazing. Yeah. And what was it about Anderson, this movie, and what compelled you to say yes to playing your character?
Yeah, I think it just goes. Absolutely goes back to that relationship. Without getting too much in the nitty gritty because it hasn't come out yet, there's just some moments that happen that, as an actor, you're like, oh, I'm really excited to do that. That looks like a lot of fun. That looks like something that would challenge me. And this definitely had that. It was a great script. Just that relationship with Heather. And then also with his wife, played by Sarah Hudson. She's excellent. It was really nice to, explore that. Great. Also, sorry, one last thing with the brother, because the question is, how do you not know? Right? Like, how do you not know these things are happening? It's just your flesh and blood. It's the person you spent the most time with. So that was an interesting thing to explore as well.
Yeah, exactly. And can you describe the character you portray? What is the background and the relationship to Heather? You say he's her father, right?
Yes. So, I play Mike Robertson, and he's a fun dad. He's someone who is all about his family. He loves stupid, silly jokes, which is, wasn't too much of a stretch for me because I love terrible dad jokes. I don't know if that translates. Do they have the term dad joke in Italy? Is that?
Yeah. There is something like battute da papà.
Battute da papà.
Yeah, and it's the same because in Italy, like in the US, that is the mood. Okay.
Yeah. That's so cool how that crosses the ocean.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. But yeah, so I'm sorry. I think I answered your question, but I'm not really sure if I hit all of it. Let me know if I missed anything.
Yeah. It's great. And how did you go about exploring and inhabiting this person's mindset, especially given the intense emotional stakes of the story?
Yeah, that's a great question. It's something like I wish there were just one way where, you got a script and you're like, oh, I know exactly how to approach this. I think everything's kind of its own animal in some instances. This one I just connected to kind of right off the bat. I mean, there are definitely things I wanted to work on and hone, but I got really lucky with this one. It just, I don't know, it fit like a glove, and that's something I'm really proud of and I'm excited to see come out. So I wish I could say it was something I had to work on, but this one it just sometimes it works out.
Yeah, exactly. And what kind of research did you undertake to ensure authenticity? Did
Yeah.
you meet any real life counterparts, consult police reports, or read others' own writing?
Yeah, absolutely. No, that's a really good question. I spent a lot of time listening to podcasts and reading interviews and descriptions of what had happened, so that when they reference something, like you really understand what it is they're talking about, or you've got a context for everything, and it's such a rich. Oh wow, I don't know the right adjective for the story. It's so many things. Without giving anything away. But yeah, it did require a lot of research. I did go through and listen to a lot of interviews, um, uh, with the lady who went through all of this, and and then yeah, you try to get all the public records you can. Thankfully through the FOIA Act, you can do that in the states, and then also speaking with Rachel, who played Heather. She got to actually interview some of the family, and so just hearing from her firsthand account, and then bringing that to the performance as much as possible.
That's amazing. What was the atmosphere like on the set when filming the most suspenseful or emotional scenes?
Yeah. Wow. Well, I got to just tip of the hat to the crew and Lee, the director, for creating an environment that was really open and intimate. And there's a scene that I have, with my daughter. I won't give anything away, but there was they created it where they set up the camera and everything felt as if we were by ourselves, just having that conversation, and it really allowed and opened up even more the opportunity to just have that real talk with her, and even in some other scenes where there's more people in it, where it's a little maybe more aggressive. There's a scene where things happen and kind of letting someone have it. It was just they created a space where we could just let go and explore the scripts, and then even sometimes as an actor you think of ourselves as a car. We only have so much gas in the car, and sometimes if it's an emotional scene and the coverage, and what I mean by that is where the camera's shooting at different times, isn't on you, you might have spent all your gas. And our director was really considerate of that. Lee was, and saying, well, I might need it early or I might need it later. I got to warm up the engine a little bit more. So yeah, it was such a good experience shooting this. I had so much fun. Even though obviously the content is so devastating, just the people around and the fact that this story gets to get told it was so rewarding.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
understand. And did any scene or sequence particularly push you out of your comfort zone as an actor or test your emotional limits?
Yeah. 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 This is really interesting. Getting, like I mentioned this maybe earlier, I think that I often get to play the bad guy. And
Yeah,
the bad guy doesn't get to be vulnerable. That's what's interesting about the bad guys. They're
yeah,
not. Um, and to get to be vulnerable in this was something that was um, it was an absolute challenge. And you wonder if you can pay it justice. And I guess we'll find out on Saturday at 8 p.m. Eastern. I don't know what it is when it's coming out for you, but yeah,
yeah,
I there's two scenes that absolutely stretch me to my limits, and I just had such good partners. Steve Gutenberg and a couple of the scenes would just give me a different look or a different way. and it would throw me entirely. And suddenly, you know,
Yeah,
you're discovering something different, something new, and I'm excited to see what makes it into the film.
amazing. And how did you collaborate with the director and with Rachel, the portrayer of Admiral Robinson, to um, give the right mood to the scenes?
Can you ask me that again? I'm not sure I understood.
How did you collaborate with the director and with the
Uh,
Rachel Stamlington that
yeah,
portray Heather to give the right mood to the scenes and to the
right.
characters?
Right, yeah, so it's almost like when you go onto a film camp, particularly this one, which was not near my home. It was, gosh, it'd be like a 10-hour drive, 15-hour drive, something like that. So we were all kind of sequestered for the time of the shoot around each other. And anytime that we weren't on set, we were running lines, we were exploring different ways of doing things. And just another credit to the production is they let us know kind of when we were shooting what well ahead of time, so we could really um, focus in on how to get that all done. But yeah, it's a great environment. Everyone was willing um, to work off screen, and even we were calling each other before we got to set, getting to know each other, creating that chemistry that you need once the camera starts rolling. And yeah, it was just yeah. So yeah, just all the work you can, every moment you got, you're working together. That's pretty much it.
That's great. And true crime adaptation always jungle factual, accurate, and dramatic storytelling. How closely did you feel the final script hired to real events, and where did you personally judge it appropriate to lean into dramatic license?
Wow. That's a great question. I mean, it's kind of more for the writer than for me. I try to do it as truthfully as possible to what had happened. My time spent with the podcast and some of the interview material, as well as some of the public records. Um, I tried to really dial it in as much as possible to that. That being said, I can't change my face. I look like me, unfortunately or fortunately. But yeah, and as far as the script, I knew it that there were moments where having listened to the podcast, having read some of the public documents, I know exactly where that line came from. I know exactly who said that, and that helped everything have weight and resonance and respect for the story that we're telling, because the story is a real story. The story matters, and it's you definitely feel a big responsibility to do it justice. And I hope that we did that, because it's these are people's lives, and we care about this, and hopefully this will help someone else in some situation that they can see this and learn from it.
Yeah. And talking about that, where was there any moment when you and the writer or the director debated how to portray an event or emotion faithfully version cinematically?
Emotionally versus cinematically. Gosh, that's a good question. Yeah, I mean, I think anytime, let's say a character were to get bad news, um, I know in my life, sometimes when I've gotten bad news, I'm just kind of like, what? And, it's not a big moment yet. It takes me a while to digest something, but um, in the reality of or the confines of a film, maybe we have to speed up that timeline a little bit. So that's something, but you know, honestly, I just think the script was really well written, and I didn't have to do too much of that, luckily. But certainly that dealing with the confines of this being over the course of over a decade, being told in an hour, you do need to condense the timeline at points.
Yeah, yeah.
Otherwise, I mean, that would be a very long movie.
And were there any stunts or physically demanding sequences that you find particularly challenging?
Oh man, I wish I did not do any stunts in this. I just
Okay.
came from 1923 where I was riding horses and shooting guns and that kind of stuff. But this was, it's a slice of life. It's about emotion and it's about relationship and no stunts for me this time.
Okay. uh, so on the emotional side, did you have to develop techniques to turn off that character's trauma once the camera stopped rolling?
So did I use techniques to stop the trauma once the camera stopped rolling? Is that correct?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
It's a,
Um,
uh, okay, you understand. Right.
is that correct? Did I?
Yeah, yeah,
It's okay. Okay. Thanks.
yeah.
Yeah. So that's a great question. I try not to use too much of my own personal stuff. Um, I got a vivid imagination, and so I'm able to use that quite well. I think I think there's a part of an actor too that just really enjoys going into places that normal people wouldn't, and you have to accept that you're a little bit of a freak and just kind of roll with it. But I try not to use my own personal stuff. My thinking of that is, at the end of a scene, I can go through it and then I can wash my hands and I can go on and go with my day. I try to be healthy with that.
Great. And
Yeah.
did portraying and participant in a real abduction trauma story leave you changed in any way once production wrapped?
Having done it because of the story or because of the people I worked with or just in general or
Because of the story
gotcha.
the movie
Yeah.
follow.
Um, I think one of the main overall themes of this story that stick with me is that it's was what family is. And the beautiful thing as you get older is you get to incorporate other people in your life who are family and you get to choose them. And that's another thing. And um, so I guess it's, yeah, I think what impressed me most is the need to really love those around us and let them know that you love them. Uh, to have more compassion, I think, for maybe not knowing everyone's story and what they've gone through, and and fighting for what you care about. Because I think that's what the story has all those three things in it. And uh, when you know what you care about, fight for it and fight for the people that you love.
Amazing. And have you heard or read feedback from survivors, law enforcement professional, or other Robinson circles since the film announced? And how did you shape your feelings about the final product?
Oh wow. I haven't invested into people's responses, but now I'm really curious to find out. To my mind, and this is the reason why I didn't. It seems. I mean, this is, I hope, a very unique situation that doesn't happen to many, if any people. This is. I've never heard of anything like this, and that's what makes this story so unique. Is that I mean, are there? I mean, I really hope not. But no, I'd love to read
Not the
about it.
same situation, sorry, not the same situation, but unfortunately there is uh, something that could be similar in some ways to
Sure,
this real
sure.
life story.
Yeah, no,
Sorry
I
to
have heard of it.
interrupt you.
I would love to. I would love to. If there's a forum or maybe it's Reddit or I don't know where I would go to find that out, but I would love to learn more about that. That's interesting to me. Um, yeah, I hope everybody's healing and doing better.
So, change of subject, talking about your career in general, your beginnings. What inspired you to become an actor in the first place? And was there a defining moment, an early play, a film role, or mentor that set you on this path?
Oh wow. Um, I think one of the reasons why I wanted to do this, I'm just fascinated by people. I I'm fascinated by people. I used to live in New York City, and I would just sit on the subway or at a park, and I would just watch people, and I would just create stories in my head about what their life was like. And I don't know, it's one of my favorite things to do. And the other thing is, I wanted to be like I don't know if anybody asked you what you wanted to be when you were a kid. When everybody's got one thing. I wanted to be everything, and I thought, well, if I'm an actor, I'll at least get to be everything at least once. Yeah, I think that's what drew me to it. And also why this project's really interesting, which isn't exactly your question, but my mom, who passed, used to always watch Lifetime and those kind of movies. So another reason that drew me to this is it just makes me happy that somewhere she's going to get to watch me on the show. I think that would be really cool.
I
So
understand.
yeah. What else? But yeah, I mean, I love the idea of being able to be in other people's shoes, and I'm frustrated by the idea that I only get to live one life. I wanna live a million lives and try everything and live forever. And I wanna. My wife and we were talking about living in Italy and what that would be like. We had our
Yeah,
honeymoon in Italy. I want to try everything, and acting gives me a way of doing that.
amazing.
Yeah.
And how did you navigate your first breakout opportunity? What if in stage, film, or television? And what doors did it open? And what doors did it close?
Oh, wow, what doors did it close? That's a really good question. What doors did it close? So I think my first, oh, wow, my first opportunity. Um, it's hard to know when that starts, right? Because yeah, is that the first time I got into acting school? Is that the first time I got on TV? Is that the first commercial? I think my 1923 is probably like one of the biggest things that I've been a part of. Being on a Taylor Sheridan film or a TV show is incredible. Uh, it's so interesting to see what doors did it close. Um, I think as an actor and as an artist, for most time you're trying to find relevancy. You're trying to find you're trying to fit in. It's such a
Yeah,
weird business. And I think the door that it closed is the doubt that you fit in.
yeah,
And what it opens is the reality that you get to live your dream.
yeah,
And it's a long wild ride in this business, but that's what opened for me. Um, but I love that you said what doors are closed. That that hits me hard because the word decide I found out recently means to cut off, and you make a decision. You make a
yeah,
decision. It means to cut off. And I
yeah,
thought that was really interesting because you're by choosing something, you're choosing not to have something else. And I think that that's kind of what you're hitting at.
yeah.
And
It's like the sliding doors. You have to choose something between two, and you choose one and you leave the others, right?
yeah, have you seen that movie by the way?
Yeah, of course.
So
Yeah,
good. I love that
yeah, it's
movie.
good. Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
underrated.
Yeah. So, talking about your background,
Hmm?
did you study formally on school, like university, conservatory, or learn on the job with a teacher or coaches or mentors most influenced your technique?
Oh wow, great. Yeah, so I did study formally. I was playing baseball in Europe actually after high school. I played in Germany and I played in France, and I got offered to play in Italy. And I
Oh,
stupidly said I'd rather go to university. I should have stayed in Italy. Um,
oh,
but so I went to university, and I studied at University of Oklahoma, and then I transferred to NYU, New York University,
yeah,
and I studied at the Meisner studio there with Vicky Hart, who is like my second mom. I love her, and she taught me what it was to be, an artist there. I love my time at NYU, and then I did grad school in San Diego, UC San Diego, and uh, and then I studied in LA. I mean, I think you know, I guess the old adage is, you see a ballerina, and every day they go to the bar and they do their routines, and an actor's no different. A painter paints every day. You got to work on what you do. So that's and I studied with a lot of people in LA. One of them is Leslie Kahn. She's great. But yeah, Vicky Hart is, probably the most impactful moment. Just going to NYU, being in New York. I'm from a small town, so that was a big deal for me.
That's great.
Yeah.
And how do you personally approach character work? Do you rely on method approaches, technique-based training, or hybrid?
Sure. So yeah, I don't think I do anything method. Um, I mean, it all starts with the script. It's all there. If you really dig in, I try to be a detective with the script. I read it over and over and over, and I know there's gold in there, and I try to find it and bring it as much to life as possible. And then, yeah, I mean, I think it's just a combination character's behavior, and you should feel the genre, right? Understand the genre. What world am I in? What's happening in the scene? And then, really, I line out who your character is and how your character feels about everything in every moment, and then the rest of it kind of builds itself.
Great. And which role do you consider most pivotal in your career and why?
Oh wow. um you're asking me to pick children. uh I don't know that I have a favorite. I'll just mention, this one in particular, I think is really high on my list, because it's the first time that I've been able to show this side of my ability, and this side of my to express this sort of a world. So I'm very excited about this one, and I think it's right there. I also think 1923, getting to explore that kind of a world was a lot of fun for me. But I think, yeah, I mean, I'm gonna go with Mike. Let's do it, Mike. That's Mike Robinson. Yeah.
That's great. So, talking about the industry, entertainment industry, in your view, what's changed the most dramatically in Hollywood since you first started auditioning?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, believe it or not, COVID changed everything. With the advent of COVID, everything is like what we're doing right now. I wouldn't have the setup that I have right now to do this if it wasn't for that. So, and obviously, COVID, losing the connectivity to people has been tough. Going into, usually be able to go into the room, and that still happens, but it's less and less. However, now, I get to spend more time at home. I don't have to go travel out to the audition as much. I can be with my family a little bit more. I can have my dog sitting next to me, and I mean, while this is going on, my cat's running around. It's nice. You feel, uh, yeah, you're just a little more connected to home. So I guess there's good and bad for both. But really expanded where people can live. Before, you had to be within a certain radius of Hollywood, and now with being able to audition from home, you really can be just about anywhere. So it's changed, I think, everything.
Yeah, exactly. And um, in the for the work, how did you feel transitioning from auditioning in live and auditioning in video chat or by recording at
Hmm.
home your audition and then sent it?
Well, you get to control which one you send them. You know, if you flub a line, that's fine. Um, and if it's a close up, and you need to be in a suit, you don't have to wear dress pants. Um, but no, but I think it allows me to do the work faster, um,
Okay.
and I can get it in faster. Uh, I think it's made my acting better because so often, like if you're a painter, you look at the painting, right, and you can see it.
Yeah,
If you're a musician, you can record the music and you can listen to it again.
yeah,
Um, but if you're acting, you don't get to really see it. It's a
yeah,
weird thing to be inside of your art. And I'm not trying to be woo woo or anything, but that's just the reality. You can't see it. So getting to do this at home, you get to see your art a bit more and you get to refine it more. And I think it's made me a better actor.
great. So the last question, as usually for me, what can you share about your upcoming project?
Great. Yeah. So what can I share about? Steve Gutenberg has created a very interesting character that I absolutely think you should see. And just getting to work with everybody on set, it's everyone brought their A game. It's the crew was amazing the whole way through. It's got a very interesting look to the show, to the film. It's Lee, the director, had a very clear vision, and I'm really excited for this to come out. It tells a very important story um, that is real and that we um, gave weight to and respect to, and I cannot wait for it to come out.
Great. And besides from kidnapped by a killer, is there anything upcoming projects?
Yeah, I do have a couple of projects. They're not named yet. We're in the process of filming them.
Okay,
But yeah, I'm out in Atlanta shooting those now, and we will. I'll let you know when they come out. I wish I could tell you more. There's sci-fi. It's going to be. It's a film. It's what can I say? Without giving too much away.
yeah,
Sci-fi, a little bit of action, a little noir. It's exciting, and it's directed by Demetrius Ren, who's a dear friend of mine, and I'm excited to bring this to you all.
great. So this is it. Make sure all of you to quote kidnapped by her killer, the Heather Robinson story, this Saturday night on Lifetime Channel. And thank you, Ross, to join us today.
Grazie mille.
Grazie a te. And thank you all for watching. Bye.
Arrivederci.